Hi everybody. I hope everybody is doing good today. If I look tired, that's because I am tired, and I think this is a tired kind of time we're in. It's just exhausting even being alive sometimes, especially this year. Okay, and what's great about this topic today is that we're going to leave this year behind, because the topic is leaving the past behind. So this is the third of these kind of videos that I've done, and just kind of being called to do them. So, sometimes there's technical issues, and sometimes the background is not ideal, and sometimes I'm not going to be as peppy as other times. So thanks for bearing with the human part of this while we talk about the more important stuff. And leaving the past behind, we have to begin doing that now in a more immediate sense. So one of the things that's really strange about having this conversation is the present, how things seem like they still are in the present, we actually have to leave that behind pretty quickly. So that's what's weird, because we don't necessarily think about what we feel like is happening now as a past event, because we feel like, well, this is in the moment of now. That in part is true. However, no moment is the same as the moment before it. And there are certain just principles. If you have a watch and you need to let it go, you just know it has some bad energy in it, maybe past relationship, symbolizes something that you just want to let go of, and you're standing on a tall cliff, and you put your arm over and you drop that watch, it's gone. You're not going to get that back. And so in the moment, you immediately have changed what can happen. You can't have the watch back now. You've already made the decision. It's gone. And you move forward from there. And so that's how something like right in the moment is just going to be in the past. And we're dealing with rapid change right now on the planet. And so there are a lot of things that have to change by default. When people's homes get burned down, when their businesses get shut down, when people's homes get damaged or just completely demolished by a hurricane or a tornado, that is the kind of thing where you have to move forward. It's gone. You're not going to get it back. It's traumatizing. You will grieve, but you have to instantly move forward. There's no choice. And so we're in that kind of a time period now, because there's so many things happening, and they're happening at once, and they are by default causing a lot of changes that we are making, and there's more to come. So we're going to have to quickly kind of be a people that now we let go very rapidly, and that doesn't usually happen. We're the kind of people, just human beings. I mean, mostly I'm talking about Americans, so maybe other cultures are slightly different. But as far as human behavior goes, we tend to cling to things. We tend to not like change. We tend to get attached to things very easily. People, we get attached to people. And when we lose, especially a person, then we do grieve. And no one wants to go through that. It's heavy and it feels painful. It's emotionally painful. So we tend to try to resist having to change. But right now we're going to be changing by default, and we are. And so it is healthier for our mind and spirit to be able to quickly process the fact that we don't have to hang on to the past now. We don't even have to hang on to like a minute ago. That we're preparing ourselves to be okay with transitioning into something better, because the way that we are living right now is working against us. Now, with that said, a lot of people feel that, okay, we're just waiting to get done with this election. Once the election is over, everything's going to be better or back to normal, or we're going to go back to like our usual way of life. And it doesn't matter who wins, because it's not going to change the things that are really intruding on our lives and our comfort zone as human beings. So it will not change the fact that we still have climate change. It will not change the huge storms and the huge fires. It's not going to change that. As a result of a lot of that, there are power outages, and there will continue to be that. And it is not going to change the fact that we're in the middle of a pandemic, no matter how people want to believe that it can just disappear after the election. I think that's pretty far-fetched, and I don't think there's any scientific evidence that even suggests that that is possible, or that something that is global has really anything to do with our election. But it's not about politics, because the pandemic's still going to be there. And as these storms and fires change the shape of where people can live, those people are going to have to find a different place to live. So there is a bit of a migration issue when it comes to a large segment, like of the coastline, that is now unlivable. People have to be able to go somewhere. So then we're going to still be dealing with, well, where are people going to go, and how are the communities going to accept people? And what does that look like? So that's going to be there after the election. There is the whole issue of men killing men, or people killing people. That's not going to go away after the election. Actually, that just needs to go away now. But we're going to get there. We are going to get there. But these things are still going to be here unless we now focus on a different reality. Maybe it's you're just daydreaming about it or intending it. But even if that's all that we can do, we should be, when we get fear in us, we should be switching that around, because we don't want to leak our power. We don't want to give away our power that we have as little creators. We're all creating our own story, and we're all co-creating the collective reality. And so it's real easy to just intend what you want the future to be like without seeing it the way it is now. We have to take the now out. So don't think about any politics, because this is so far bigger and beyond politics. And that's what really is the shame of people fighting over perceived sides and politicians. I don't know when we started to obsess about politicians or pseudo worship politicians, especially presidents. This is new. So at least there's that. Something has already changed, but we're going to move away from the whole thing, because we're going to have to focus more on basically survival. Because when you think about the storms, the climate change, natural disasters, and the pandemic sort of being a natural disaster as well, this is great that the kitten is on. The other kitten is climbing up the curtain. He's all the way at the top by the ceiling, and then the littler one, the 3-month-old, is watching him, and he'll be up there soon. Oh, here they go. Okay. This is so fun. I love having kittens. Okay. Yeah, crazy cat lady right here. All right. So we have to be willing to envision the positive change, and not bring the present into that and the past into that. So we don't want to envision, let's say, gosh, it's hard to think of these hypothetical situations, and I just am avoiding getting political, so I don't want to think of a hypothetical situation that has anything to do with that, even though I think it's really something that I wish I could break through to people, just to say that it's so not about that right now. It's not. That is such a huge distraction. So, the change that has to happen is putting our mind in a new place, like really thinking differently. So not thinking about presidents, okay? Just not thinking about any of that, and even our history. Mankind needs to change. It's being forced to change. We're not going back. We can't go back. Once you know something, you can't unknow it. Once that watch falls out of your hand, it's gone and it's not coming back. And so we are in that moment, and we have to prevail, or we're just going to get destroyed. We're going to destroy each other, destroy ourselves, and we're just going to fall into allowing our environment to destroy us. And so there's still going to be, whether it's so bad that it happens like that and everything is gone, there will still be a portion of the human race that survives. You can almost, here you go, Enzo, here's the other kitten. All right. Yeah, there's still going to be people that survive, but the thing is that we have the instinct to survive, and the American people have the fortitude to survive. We have done this before. We have survived, and we've come out of things on top, and we're at a very low moment, and it's not the fault of politicians or presidents or vice presidents. I'm sorry, it's not. It's each individual's responsibility to be accountable for what we have co-created. And a lot of us are ready for a break from the chaos, from the fighting chaos, from the verbal chaos, from the mental chaos that doesn't need to be there at a time when we are experiencing the chaos of natural disasters. And I'm going to classify the pandemic as a natural disaster. So when I say that, I mean all of it. What's important is human survival, and what ensures that is cooperation. So what we would need to do in order to make this come out positive is we have to just forget about the fighting. We have to forget about the moment of now, how bad it's been this year with just so many tragedies, and just seems like everything is hitting us all at once, and you know, it just seems like the world is falling apart. And we have to know that that's okay, because the old way has to go. In order for us to survive and have a better way, we just have to have a new pair of eyes. We just have to have a new way of thinking, and it involves cooperation with other people, no matter where they're from, no matter what they look like. We need to get together and start rebuilding not only our physical structures that we're losing, and not only, you know, rebuilding family as we have lost family members, or rebuilding friendships as we have lost friends, or relationships as we have lost relationships, but rebuilding a new system, a new way of living. So that may include, like, okay, maybe we are going to have electric cars, because we have to change something. We have to change what's in the environment. You know, we have to find a way to slow down global warming. We have to find a way to handle our energy system so we don't have, like, you know, if we don't get access to oil, then we're out of luck. We can't travel. Or if our power grid goes down, there's no, you know, other alternative way. We have to start, like, building new ways so that we can sustain, you know, and we all want to be able to do that. I think that's a core goal at the center of each human being. We want to survive, we want to sustain, we want to thrive, and we want to have the best possible existence, you know, while we're doing all of that. And so we'll have to get used to things being different and cooperating for that. So, you know, it's that, and it's also kind of restructuring. I love you. Okay. Kind of restructuring the way that we choose to be governed, and restructure that into an ideology that just talks about just self-accountability. the laws of karma, or the laws of God, if you believe in God, or the laws of like even science. I always go back to quantum physics because it really does explain how we co-create the reality. And so even with science, this is in there. We can create something a lot better. And so self-governing is really going to become hopefully the new way, if we can get into like the way of just going toward a loving, compassionate humanity that does cooperate and can rebuild and can admit that, like, well, our old way, it was outdated, and so that's why we had to change it, and that's okay. Like, that's actually really awesome. So it's a new way of communicating, it's a new way of self-governing, and it's a new way of men agreeing not to have power over other men, and women not needing to have power over other women, and, you know, men not needing to have power over women, and women not needing to have power over men, just people not needing to get into that dynamic again, because that's the age-old dynamic. And there will be one of these videos on the need to change man culture, and that it's not controversial. It's gonna seem, or it even seems like saying that putting it out there is like gonna, you know, spawn some angry people that are like battle of the sexes and whatever. I'm not even thinking along those lines when I say that, because the culture that we have and the problems with it, with the, you know, us killing each other, I mean, basically it's what it boils down to, and people trying to have power over other people, and that has always been the way. That doesn't really have anything to do with men specifically. It's all of us have co-created. So it's just as much a woman's responsibility as it is a man's to contribute to changing this culture. But because it does come from the male side of us, the aggression and the violence and the, you know, the killing and the need for war and the territorialism, and you know, the need to feel that a person of power can lock a person who they don't perceive as powerful in a cage. And they often lock people in the cage who they do perceive as powerful, but that perceived powerful person isn't wealthy and hasn't had years of you know, family lineage and royalty to be entitled to just command people to put somebody who is maybe spiritually powerful in a cage. And so this goes back to, like, I don't know, probably, who knows, the beginning of time. Who knows, the beginning of man. I don't know if it was always like that way back before we like became civilized, when we were more primitive. It probably was. I mean, I think the cavemen probably like duked it out. Maybe some of them fought to the death, you know, over a cave woman. Anyhow, throwing a little humor in there. I know it's probably not funny. In any case, getting back to leaving the past behind, we're gonna have to do it quickly, and we are doing it quickly right now. We're doing it in the moment, but it's a lot less painful, I guess, is the whole point of it. We don't have to suffer and grieve, especially a lot of these things, because it's like being in a bad relationship where you are grieving while you're thinking about how you're going to get out of the relationship. And sometimes that's for like years and years, or just like, I'm not happy and I can't get out. How am I going to get out? And you're actually going through all these stages of grief while that's happening. So then on the day that you finally get out, you're just like done. You move on to the next thing. And that's how this can be. And it's great if you can do that, because then moving on and leaving, especially material things behind, leaving certain relationships behind, it doesn't hurt. You don't grieve, because you've stepped into a new way. And the new way is, you love everybody anyway, so the old relationships have no power. You wish those people well, and you know, some of them may come back into your life as good friends, or you know, maybe they were friends that went away and have come back. You know, whatever it is, you're not going to be angry. You're going to be in a cooperative, compassionate, hopeful, inspiring, light being kind of mentality and ideology, and that will lift everyone up. So the people that can do that, and if you've watched some of these, you know, came back and watched more, you're a person that can do that, because not everybody is going to want to listen to this or even get it. Some people are going to be like, who the fuck does she think she is? And some people are going to, you know, be like, I can't watch that because I have this belief, and, you know, whatever. It's fine. I'm good with, like, if 3 people watch this and they are like, yeah, I get that, and I can put that. All right. So if those 3 people can say, yeah, you know, I will put that energy out into the world. I'm going to envision a better day. I'm going to cooperate. I'm going to drop the anger. I'm going to move into the new me. I'm going to move into the new us. And, you know, and then just kind of do your best to avoid fighting. And if people come at you real hard and they're trying to kind of shut you up, that probably means you're doing a good job at spreading the light, because the dark forces are going to try to shut you up. But, you know, I think as long as you avoid the topic of politics and you go straight to the heart of, like, mind, soul, spirit, you know, the well-being of mind, soul, and spirit for all of mankind, you can avoid, like, anybody who's going to troll you. I think that can happen. So good luck out there, guys. And remember, just let it all go. Let it go. Move on to the next moment. And remember, it's all about love.